Welcome to another presser breakdown on Sick'em 365. Normally, I take the most important clips about injuries, matchups, scheme, and whatnot, and package it together in a quick and easy way to hear from both head coaches. Oklahoma State's Mike Gundy was fired on Tuesday after giving answers to some questions about Baylor on Monday. That presser also had very little content about Baylor, given all the speculation about Gundy's job. So I will offer up what Mike Gundy said about injuries and the matchup with the Bears, but understand that he is no longer the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and his answers may no longer align with the reality of the Oklahoma State football program. I'll also include some of what Gundy said regarding his job status at that Monday presser. So let's get things going with some general notes from both head coaches.
They're talented. I think you look at the game plans. They're pretty specific per the opponent. There's generally going to be a run of the day. Speaking offensively, they move the pocket around quite a bit. They use screens. There's some gotcha plays in there. They do. It's game plan specific. And then I think defensively have gone against this coordinator multiple times, and a lot of respect for him. Used to visit with him 3 or 4 schools back, and is a veteran, knows a lot of ball, is aggressive, has no qualms about being aggressive and pressure and all that. And so, it's going to be a challenge. They've got good skilled people, good length. Their front are guys that defensively they can take double teams, take 2 guys. And so, they're going to come out fighting. We're going to make sure we come out fighting too.
The defensive coordinator that Aranda mentions is Todd Grantham, and the interim head coach for the Pokes is the offensive coordinator, Doug Meacham. Meacham was at TCU in 2021 when Gary Patterson was fired and Jerry Kill took over as the interim head coach. The Bears lost to that 2021 TCU team. Now for what Gundy said about the Bears.
They're athletic, very similar to what they have been. They've got long, tall receivers that can make plays. Backs can run. Quarterback's a good player. He throws it around pretty good. He's nifty. I thought they protected really well up front. Defensively, it's what Coach has done. I don't know. He's been in this system for the last 3 or 4 years-ish, and they're doing the same thing. They don't change what they do. It's what he believes in. They're good at it. They're really fast at the second level. They run well. I think the other one in there playing 31. He runs really well. The corners are going to press you, get your face, and they're going to run with you, and safeties are going to set it at 11 or 12 yards, and they'll mix some coverages. They're going to flat foot. They're going to let those guys go out there and play man, and they're going to sneak that nickel. They fire that guy all the time like they do. They're good at it. Then when they want to pressure you, they're going to pressure you. They're going to cover you down. They're going to stack the mic. They're going to pressure you. They're good in the return game. They've got skill at that position like they've always had. They've been good at punt return. So Baylor's always, I shouldn't say always, but they've generally had fast guys on the perimeter and guys could run and make plays, and that's what they've got this year.
On to injury updates, starting yet again with Baylor defensive back Carl Williams.
He was going through everything we were going through this morning, which is a continuation of last week, and so we're hopeful that this is the week that we see him.
And starting defensive lineman Cooper Lands.
He's back, yeah. I think we'll have our D-line for the first time this game, so excited for that, excited for him.
As for starting cornerback LeVar Thornton.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be in protocol, and so, depending on how these next couple days go, we'll see if we have him or not. Mm-hmm.
Now, for longer-term injuries to linebackers Travion Barnes and Phoenix Jackson, as well as safety Devin Turner, with some notes on how those guys are being replaced on the field.
Yeah, so he's getting surgery, I think, at noon. And so just, I think we have an injury to Phoenix Jackson and now an injury to Travion. Those are 2 of our kind of main portal additions, Devin Turner would be another one of our main portal additions. And so, it's next man up in all those areas. I think with Jay Red, you're seeing him step up in the safety spot, right? And so linebacker-wise, we got Kylan Reed, we got Caleb Burns, we got a couple guys that are in position, J.J. Evans, that need to take that next step.
As for the Cowboys, Gundy was only asked about one player's injury status, offensive lineman Markel Samuel.
No, he won't be available. I told you guys he'd be out a while. Didn't I tell you that?
As always, look out for the conference-mandated injury reports starting on Wednesday nights. Now it's time to shift gears and talk about the Oklahoma State offense and the Baylor defense. First, a quick look at the stats. OSU is scoring just 14 points per game on 324 yards per game. That is around 170 yards passing and 150 yards rushing per game. They convert third downs at a 37% clip and are 3 for 6 on fourth down attempts. The Bears defense is allowing a little bit over 29 points per game on 367 yards per game. They have averaged roughly equal numbers of yards through the air and on the ground, both around 180 per game, and also are allowing third down conversions at, again, a 37% clip. Just a reminder, the Bears have played fringe top 25 teams in Auburn at home, at SMU, and Arizona State at home, while Oklahoma State has played top 10 Oregon, but no one else expected to go bowling this season. If you feel like I'm talking a lot in this video, I feel the exact same way, and we'll get back to the coaches in just a second. After an injury to starting quarterback Haas Haney in the season opener, Zane Flores has been the signal caller for the Pokes over the last 2 games. On Monday, Gundy spoke to the potential that Flores has been showing so far.
Improved. Really excited about him moving and progressing. If we're going to be honest here, whether people like it or not, we didn't put him in a good situation in Oregon. We weren't really sure about a lot of things, and so I felt like our staff put him in a better situation in this last game, and I thought he showed some improvement. I thought he showed toughness. I thought he ran. I thought he protected the ball. And I know for a fact that he had decent vision of the game. And that's going to get better and better. He's going to have more vision a month from now than he will this Saturday. But that's just the way it is. The encouraging thing for me is watching him progress. And if he'll continue to have grit and toughness, he loves the game of football. He studies the game of football. He's only going to improve as he goes. So I think it's, I don't read what's out there, but they should be fair to him in his development as a quarterback and just understand that he's going to get better. Okay, that's not something all of a sudden you just show up and you're playing really good.
As for the Cowboys' offensive line, the run game showed improvement against Tulsa, at least compared to the Oregon game.
So they're improving in that area. We had some glaring mistakes at times up there that would have helped us play better in this last game that we need to get corrected. It wasn't just drop balls and some errant throws. We had 4 or 5 key busts up front that we need to improve. Some of those we're dealing with guys that are new to playing this game at this level. So there has to be a certain level of patience as we bring the players along. And then that ties in with the coaches trying to put them in the best position. That ties in with having enough to score enough points to potentially win every game that we play.
Sometimes a helpful tactic for offenses is to push the pace, to force defenses to make mistakes or just simplify things. Gundy was not committing to playing fast when he still called the shots on Monday.
It depends. There's a variety of things on that, right? Well, the first thing would be depth chart for us, health, depth chart for them, health, and what Coach Sutton used to say. Coach Eddie Sutton, because there's 3 or 4 of them that coach, but what Coach Sutton used to say is you got to decide who you're playing before you want to know how many trips up and down the floor you want to have. And I think that kind of fits with the question you asked me.
As for the Bears' defense, the D-line is getting a little healthier, allowing Coach Aranda more flexibility in his tactics. There is still one key area for improvement, though.
Yeah, I thought there was some good production. I thought Jackie, it was good to have him, that 4th down stop. I think Jackie took on 3 guys. And so I think in any, I think you have to have the guy that's going to do something like that. And we haven't had that here lately. And to have him back, he can do that and help us and change the math a little bit. But I think, from the nose guard position specifically, we got to be able to see improvement there. I think some of the peso grouping and some of the dime grouping is we've got some talent at some of these DBs and outside backer spot, but it's also like who would you rather have on the field, these guys or some of these nose guards? And we got to get more production out of our nose guards and better technique and better kind of everything. And so I think it's that clock is ticking.
Baylor safety Devin Bobby also offered some more general notes on the Pokes offense.
They'll move the pocket type team. They will go tempo. They have great athletes on the side of the ball. So we got to do a great job communicating, a great job tackling and executing. We'll be fine.
Alongside Bobby in the defensive backfield, there is a pair of players splitting time that both showed improvement last weekend. Most have seen Jacob Redding making plays, but Tyler Turner, the Oregon transfer, also put some good stuff on tape.
This was his best game. I think there was a focus on him and almost kind of maybe a glare, intensity that really he hadn't had up until this one. And so that is not Tyler off the field. He's the opposite of that. But this gives us, the opportunity to say whatever this is who you need to be on the field because you play better that way. And so I think the best is yet to come with him.
The Bears will need that to become an every week thing from Turner to help the defense permanently take a step forward. Now, on to the Baylor offense and the Oklahoma State defense. Neither coach was asked for or offered many specific takes on this side of things. Amidst all the questions about his job security, Gundy really only offered one short soundbite on Baylor tight end Michael Trigg.
He's he's an agile guy, so it's an advantage for him. They do different things with him, and you got to know where he's at.
As for Aranda, his focus was more internal on how the offense bounces back from its worst showing of the season so far. Particularly wide receiver Josh Cameron, who fumbled twice and was the target during Sawyer Robertson's interception.
Yeah, it hurts when you when you're all invested, and you think about not only Sawyer but Josh. It means everything to Josh, and he puts his heart and soul into it. I haven't seen Josh Cameron's betting, but it may be Baylor football betting. I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, I had like LA Rams betting. Josh may be like that, and I just think he's all in, and for him to have a night like that, and for him, he's still leading in the midst of that, and I think that's just so hard to do. I think again, you can always think of yourself so easily. But to not only think of the unit, but think of the team and try to be able to get the team going when you're just taking blows and hits and all that says a lot about that man's character. So,
another aspect of the Baylor offense that is not clicking right now is the vertical passing attack. How do the Bears respond to defenses making it the priority to shut down deep pass plays?
Yeah, I think the screen game was there really for the most of the night. As some of the turnovers were happening there. I thought that the individual kind of option routes and move the pocket throws, we call it like an Uber concept, where there's a tight end in the back, swing out, and there'll be probably four guys to a side. And so there's kind of the check down. It basically has a lead blocker. This is something that Oklahoma State runs too. Those are all answers, and those are all things that we did. I think, our best players have to come alive in those moments, and I think it was probably more that than anything.
Elsewhere, Baylor punter Palmer Williams had an amazing coffin corner punt last week, which reignited questions about how often the Bears like to go for it on fourth down. Does Williams' skill affect those conversations much?
I think the only time that really enters in my mind is when we're struggling to get the fourth downs converted. I think, when you go for the fourth downs, the concept there is the touchdown's way bigger than a field goal, and the momentum that comes with that. You look at the, Saturday's game, whether it was us getting a field goal or it's Arizona State having to settle for field goals, the game's close at the end. Any of those things are touchdowns, then we're not talking that way, And so the touchdown's just so much more impactful than a field goal. But going for fourth downs, defensively, if you don't get it, you're in a tough spot. Especially if you're not playing well. Ball's turned over, they're on your 40 going in, and you give up 10 yards, that's going to be at least a field goal. And so there's added weight to making those things. I have a lot of confidence that we can continue to make those things, though.
Okay, both sides of the ball have been covered. But the NCAA also recently announced the trimming of the transfer portal down to just one window in January. Aranda had some thoughts on that, and Gundy, again related to his hot seat, spoke on the changing landscape of the world of college football.
My personal experience, our personal experience here at Baylor has been that, that first portal window, there's a fair amount of teams that are trying to win games right up to the opening of that. Now, there's going to be staffs within that staff that are doing all the recruiting and the evaling and all of that. But if there's 10 dudes, there's probably 6 and 4 or 7 and 3, something like that, focused on ball. And so I think as a result of that, what you get is more kids that are transferring because, hey, I didn't play. Hey, I didn't get the opportunity, or, hey, it looks like it's going to trend this way. I want to go somewhere to play. The second portal window was the front office plus the position coaches. So it's 20-0 now, all working on who's on this team. He's ranked this way. So there's a lot more tampering. There's a lot more, hey, I'm comfortable here, but this school's calling me and they're offering me this much money and I gotta go. That really wasn't the case in the first window. That was very heavily the case in the second one. So we'll see. Yeah, I think anything that can better the game and move it to where, a kid can be at a school and start and finish, get his degree, I think the more that happens, the better.
College football, as we all know, has changed in a very, very dramatic fashion, and it's really not the old college football. This is a paid game, okay? So whether I agree with it or not makes zero difference. It's like being in an argument with your wife and you're right. It makes zero difference. You're wrong. You might as well just get over it, give in. Things are going to be much smoother. So I'm just giving you that.
So this is where I normally leave you with some final words from both head coaches. I'll let Aranda talk about the importance of this game, momentum, and how everything is still technically in front of his Bears. Then I'll say goodbye and let Mike Gundy go. Just remember, he was fired about 24 hours after this press conference.
I think, momentum is always important. I think football is a game of momentum. I think for us, the most important thing is to play together from start to finish. I think that we need a game like that, and there is no reason why it should take these many games to get to that point. It's past due. We need to get there, and that was the message this morning, and that'll be the message the rest of this week. I haven't said it necessarily that way. I've talked more about I think what I felt when I was with them is that here we are last week having all this energy in meetings and focus. When you put a group together, there's an energy that comes with that. You feel it. And it was very high last week. And this is without me or anyone saying anything. Practice was the same way. If everything was a 7 normally, last week was an 8 or a 9, you could just feel it. And so, when that kind of naturally happens, I think they're probably thinking along the lines of what you're thinking, of like, hey, this is the start of the, everything in terms of conference layout and how it's going to play out. But my message was, bro, in life you can do all the things, and it doesn't mean you're going to get the thing, right? It puts you in position to get it. It doesn't mean you're going to get it, right? And so this is the effort and the concentration it takes to get into the arena of meaningful games. Now, here's the things that we got to do to get over the hump. So the emphasis was that.
Enjoy week 5, everybody.
So I don't address things. I'm under contract here for, I think, about 3.5 years or 3.4 months. When I was hired here to take this job, ever since that day, I've put my heart and soul into this, and I will continue to do that until at some point if I say I don't want to do it, or if somebody else says we don't want you to do it. So I don't mind addressing this question. I addressed it after the game, and this will kind of be the last time I address it. But it's a fair question, and the players have never come to me and asked me that. And I think that's maybe because what I've instilled in them from day one. Now, we do have a lot of new players, but I've always talked to them about, you signed up to be a college football player. I signed up to be a college football coach. These are the things that come along with it. Whether we like it or not, it's the way it is. Now, some things might be favorable and rewarding. Some things might be not so favorable and not so rewarding. But either way, that's what we signed up for. And so I think they see that. I think they know that with me. My demeanor, my daily operation, and I'm talking my personally, you asked me, never changes. So, like, now I might come in earlier. If we win, I might come in on Sunday at 8:30. We lose, I'm probably in by 5 a.m. just because I feel better doing that. I feel like I'm trying to figure out why and what happened and get a good plan, because I have 150 people in the building waiting for me to give them a response and an answer. And that's the honest answer. So that's the way I was raised, and that's what was instilled in me, and that's what I believe in. I understand the fans want to win. I think that's great. Like, I addressed the crowd. The crowd was awesome last game. Wish we could have played better for them. Wish we could have coached better for them. But as I said, I understand a fair question from you, but it's not about me. It's about the team and about the organization. And that's the way I see it, and it'll always be that way. But I love what I do. I have the exact same amount of energy that I've had from day one doing this. There's still some strategic things that are involved with each team every year based on talent and what's available and certain things. For example, like with the quarterback, we made a little adjustment based on the other guy leaving the game early, the first game. So there's some strategic things that we can do with Zane, and then they were better from a scheme standpoint, and he was better in the last game. So those things are very intriguing to me. We have 4 or 5 things on defense that I addressed earlier that are kind of glaring that we need to clean up if we do that. So if you clean some of those up and you tackle better, it makes a difference. That part I really enjoy. But there's never, ever become a time that I haven't wanted to come to work and pour my heart and soul into what I do for the players. That has never come about.
Based on everything you're saying today, is it fair to say that you have no interest in this season being your last?
100%. That's a good question. I like that question.
Join Sikkim 365 Premium on a $1 for 1 month trial to read our experts' notes and insights. Know about high school commits, off-season transfers, coaching staff changes, and so much more before the rest. Also, download the Sikkim 365 app on your iPhone today to get instant notifications of breaking news, read up on the latest inside info, easily interact with other Baylor fans on our forums, and get alerts for anything published by your favorite staff members.